Facebook is the largest and most dominant social media platform, with tons of people, including business owners, active on it every day. In this video, I'm going to show you how to find clients on Facebook using direct outreach. So there's a lot of people who do organic marketing on Facebook, and for the most part, they do it through a certain subset of strategies where they go into Facebook groups and they either make posts or they interact with people in other ways, and they kind of try and get people out of those groups to their profile that looks kind of like this. And then so that you try and get someone to your profile, and then they might click on your link, and then they go to your site, or they chat with your bot, or they chat with you, or whatever the case may be. And that's kind of how you get leads out of Facebook. So that's one approach. But that's a very kind of roundabout approach, and it's not very direct. And right now I'm looking to get more clients for my business. So I wanted to figure out a more direct approach for using Facebook to find business-to-business leads for my digital marketing business. And so what I'm going to show you is kind of the method that I came up with for finding clients who are going to have a very low barrier to entry. So they're going to be newer businesses for the most part, or businesses that have a less developed online presence. And I'm going to be offering services like basic social media marketing, or managing Google My Business, setting up Google My Business, because one of the main things I'm looking for is actually people who don't have a Google My Business page and people who don't have a website. And you might be wondering, how do you find a business who doesn't have a website or Google My Business? Well, the answer is they're often on Facebook, because like I said earlier, Facebook is the largest, most dominant social media platform. A lot of people who start businesses, the first thing that they do online is they set up a Facebook page. And so you can actually find quite a few clients this way, or rather prospects this way, prospects, leads, whatever you want to call them, who you can then easily reach out to using either Messenger or using the information on their Facebook page. So I'm here in Facebook, and I'm just going to do a quick search for training. All right. And then I'm going to click on pages. And then underneath of pages, I'm going to go to location, and I'm going to put in Ottawa. So you could use any city that you want. You could use your city. You could use a larger city. I'm just using a large, well-known Canadian city for this example. So there's going to be lots of examples for me to choose from. So that's really all that you need to do for the search part. You can, if you want, like with this one, there's going to be tons and tons of results. So I'm going to go to category, and I'm going to filter it to a local business or place. However, if you do this, you may end up missing some good candidates because they may have set their page to the wrong status. If they're new to business, if they're not really sure what they're doing with Facebook, they may set their page to a different status than local business or place. But just for this one, I'm going to filter a little bit, and there we go. So now what I have here is a list of mostly local businesses that are some sort of training. Most of them are going to be personal training, but there will also be other kinds of training. And so what I like to do is I start mostly at the bottom. I'm not going to go all the way to the bottom because there's going to be just so many this time. But as you can see, there's just tons and tons of businesses that kind of fit this this single word search that I did. And you could search something like personal training or personal trainer, but that's going to filter out more of the results. And so I like to try and keep it to a single word search when I'm doing this. So I'm just going to scroll down that far. I could keep going. There'd be tons more. But basically, I like to scroll down to the bottom, or almost to the bottom, and then work my way back up, because usually the people that are at the very top are going to be the ones with the popular Facebook pages, who are likely to already have websites and already have Google My Business. So I'm just going to middle mouse click on this one to open this in a new tab. And then I'm going to look at this person's Facebook business page. So the first thing I'm going to look for is how active they've been recently. And so if I look over here, I see that there's a post from January 17th, 2020. So that was a year ago and a bit. So basically a year and a bit. So maybe that's not quite recent enough for me. And then if I look at send message, if they were active on this page and they were getting messages and responding to messages, it would say how frequently they respond to messages. So I'm going to decide that this one isn't a good candidate. I'm going to close that. So I'm just going to scroll back up a little bit. Let's see. Here we go. All right, so this one already has a website, so I'm going to ignore it. We have a kennel here. Here we have a nutritionist called Eat, Train, Play. So we'll open that one. And here we see, so they've got a auto messenger thing set up, which is a good sign. And their most recent post was just 5 or 6 days ago. And then if I look over here at send message, you can see that they typically respond within an hour. So that means that this is a good candidate to reach out to. And now the way that I'm going to check, so I can see that they probably don't have a website, but the way I'm going to check for sure whether they have a website, and the way that I'm going to check if they have Google My Business is I'm just going to copy the name here, open a new tab, and Google search this. And it tried to navigate to that as a website. So I'm just going to type it in. And so it looks like they don't have a website, but I could be wrong. So I'm going to add the name of the city. And so there you go. So if you search the name of a business with the city name, and there's no Google My Business thing here, and the first result is like Facebook, then that's a pretty good sign that they don't have Google My Business and they don't have a website. Because if they had Google My Business, it would be popping up here. And if they had a website, it would probably be ranking in the top few at the very least. So let me just show you. So that would basically be an example of a good one. So I'm going to grab the URL of this Facebook page, and I'm going to go to my spreadsheet, which I've prepared, and I'm just going to paste that in here. And then I'm going to, I forgot to do this, so I'm just going to click on this row. I'm going to go to View, Freeze, One Row. So now that row will stay there, and I can add as many leads as I want down here and scroll, and I'll always know which column I'm under. So if I go to this person's, back to their Facebook page, they don't have an email listed here, so or a phone number, so I don't have a second point of contact to gather, which is unfortunate, but it's not a huge deal. And if I go back here, so I'm underneath of has GMB, I'm just going to put no, has website, no, and I don't have any notes for that one. So that would be that entry done. And just to show you what it looks like if someone does have a GMB, let's go back down and let's see, this one had a website. So I'm going to open this fitness person's page, copy their name, and paste their name right here and search for that. And as you can see, this person does have a Google My Business, which is what has popped up right here. It's their GMB page. And it's also saying that they have a website, which is linked right there. So as you can see, though, the website didn't come up in the search, which basically just means that it doesn't necessarily have great search engine optimization. I can open the website here, and let's see if it actually loads or not. Yeah, so there you go. That's her website. So it basically has poor search engine optimization. So I could maybe contact her and say, do you want to improve your search engine optimization so it's easier for people to find you on Google? But that would have a higher likelihood that she's going to say no, because there's a good chance she's already working with a marketer or a web designer, which is why she has a website already. And she already has a Google My Business page. So she doesn't need my services nearly as much as the other example of someone that I just showed you, which is someone who doesn't have a GMB, doesn't have a website, which means it's much more difficult for people to find them online. It's much more difficult for them to get business online. All right, so basically that's the whole process for finding the leads. And then once you've found them, you just need to reach out to them. You can do it by email if they have their email address on the page. You can do it by Facebook Messenger if they don't. You can call them if they have their phone number on there. And I definitely recommend doing customized outreach. And what I typically do is I'll just kind of reach out and say hi, and then if they get back to me, I'll tell them, who I am and what I do, and I'll offer to make them a quick video where I explain a few things that they can optimize about their online presence. And once you have the chance, once you kind of have your foot in the door to give them some advice, then you're opening up the odds that they're going to ask you for more help in the future. So I might do another video that's kind of like the second half of this process where we go over how to actually do the outreach, but that is how to find clients on Facebook and how to get leads from Facebook in order to start doing outreach to business owners. So I hope that was helpful for you. This has been kind of a breakthrough for me for finding new potential clients, because I've been able to, I spent like an hour doing this just yesterday, and I was able to generate a list of like 60 leads, most of which are in my local area, and most of which don't have a Google My Business or a website. So that's been really beneficial for me. Hope it's helpful for you as well. And I'll catch you in the next video. Take care.